Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. A historic first in 37 years, President Tinubu is headed to Windsor Castle, and the UK is putting its money where its mouth is. Breaking news from the State House today: President Tinubu, accompanied by the First Lady, depart for London tomorrow for a historic state visit as guest of King Charles III. This isn't just a handshake, it's the first time a Nigerian leader has been hosted at Windsor Castle in nearly 4 decades. The highlight of the trip, a massive £746 million financing deal to overhaul the Lagos Port Complex. While the government is hailing this as a global vote of confidence in renewed hope, critics are watching to see if this partnership actually addresses the migration and trade hurdles facing Nigerians in the UK. We haven't seen a red carpet this long for a Nigerian leader in London since the 80s. Is this a genuine strategic alliance, or is the UK just securing its own interest in the new African market? We're going to get into this analysis today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Again, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you are notified when we go live. Without any further ado, we're going to bring High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun to come and give us today's analysis. Welcome back, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Good to be back with you, and a huge shout out and welcome to all our viewers all over the world. Thanks for bringing me back.
Welcome back, sir. Okay, so here's the question for you. Again, is this a genuine strategic alliance? The UK is just after their own interest in the new African market. Let's have your take on this.
Thank you very much, Ola. It is both strategic and pivotal, but no matter how well this might be in terms of intentions and the litmus test it will represent in Nigerian British relations, the bilateral relations between Nigeria, its former principal, it's a former imperial master, and Nigeria being a former British colony itself, people would always suspect the agenda because wherever the West, that is the North Economic Bloc of the world, wherever members of that that critical bloc, wherever they show up, you can be sure that there will be undisclosed underlining implications. And so when Britain extends a kind of handshake across miles, people always suspect the agenda. After all, the first time they came to the shores of Africa, it never really translated to something positive for our folks. It really, saw to the subjugation and brainwashing of people, around Africa, particularly along the West African sub-region. So Tinubu going there now, on the face of it, it's a warm embrace. Remember the last time this happened between a Nigerian sovereign, represented at that time by military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. And it was at the point where Babangida held promises of trying to hand power back over to civilian Democrats. But he faltered along the way as the soldier. He sold himself out, demonstrating unprecedented cowardice, not being able to hand over to the legitimate winner of that 1993 June 12 elections, the late Chief Moshood Kashimawo Olawale, Abiola. So that opportunity of being given a red carpet welcome by the British Royal Circle was withdrawn for a very long time. Hence, we're talking of the last time this happened between any Nigerian leader and the British Crown, 37 straight years. So today that Tinubu goes there, we cannot just continue to say that African leaders do not usually demonstrate extreme wit, wisdom, and tactics, and the interests of the people they represent when they try to work out deals, when they try to get all these things out of the hard squeeze out of the British Crown. We hope this will make a strong difference. I mean, we can't criticize the details of what has not yet been been signed. We look forward to an agreement that will be agreeable to Africans or to Nigerians, specifically this time around, in the hope that the foremost interest of the generality of people of our land of birth, Nigeria, would be the driving interest behind whatever President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be negotiating with the British Crown. Don't forget that King Charles, then Prince Charles, always came to Nigeria like a place that he was familiar with. He even banters at times with the common West African Nigerian variant of Pidgin English. King Charles must be given his flowers for trying to be the common people's king, relating perfectly with the the average Nigerian person. You know, he doesn't really allow the circumstances and the privileges of his office as a king. Remember, even at his coronation, he said that he was emulating the example of the Lord Jesus Christ, who, though the King of the world, was able to embrace humility and serve the least of humanity. So he will look at the circumstances of Nigerians, not in a condescending way now, but as a fellow human beings, embrace the humanity of the world in which we live in, and then look at the sufferings of millions of Nigerians. Some of the, of whatever Nigerians are going through today, economic hardships and what have you, direct fallout of the shameful colonial legacy of or heritage of the British government while in charge in Nigeria, and that carried over. And remember all the criticisms back and forth about the insincerity of the British institutions during Nigeria's pre-independence and negotiations and all that, making sure that things are skewed against specific sections of the country. So this is an opportunity for the King of United Kingdom, or Britain, as the case may be, to earn the trust of Nigerians. Now, let us touch on a critical aspect of what Nigerians would want President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to also push. The core interest of Nigerians when it comes to immigration deals. I mean, you even see that, and you can't really blame most British politicians. You cannot blame the British Crown. You have seen a direct, what's it called? A direct product of a Nigerian parentage, like Kemi Badnoch. The ugly things he says about Nigeria, this affords a great opportunity. Honestly, never before explored opportunity for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to give a proper frame to the Nigerian person, the character of the Nigerian, and to try and address the wrong narratives being sent, being given by people like Kemi Badnoch. Now, Nigeria must be able to look, the Nigerian president must be able to look the British monarch eyeball to eyeball and let them know that the egregious extreme immigration agenda being pursued by that country, which often which often strips the Nigerian who lives in that country of all forms of human dignity, can be readdressed, and let them know that in this case, Nigeria embraces what I would call citizen diplomacy, and that a major handle to that will be this need to always ensure that there will be reciprocity. They treat us somehow, we will treat them somehow. This way, it will not just be all about economics, about money, power. It also would be about hardcore or hardball engagement to let them know that, oh, yes, we can't even be equal, but there isn't any rule in the book that says that we can discuss with the British monarch as an equal. After all, there are several kings and kingdoms all over Nigeria and Africa. Just one kingdom now, or United Kingdom, will not be able to twist the president of a great country like Nigeria. However, there have been people trying to gather to also say that the Nigerian government cannot be trusted completely on so many things. We would expect that some people want to gather today, although the professionals would not be there, like Reno Domokri, is now on the side of the government. Instead, in the past, it would be one of those driving the agenda for protest against the visit of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and maybe other professional agitators, but we cannot label them as such. They mean well, making sure that Nigerian citizens are treated right. We hope that some of these individuals will be there to confront President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with whatever they want to do. Now, it would be critical also for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ask for the support, the assistance, the collaboration, not in a not in a way that suggests that we are less of a sovereign nation than Britain, just that they will need that collaboration, that cooperation in order to fight all kinds of issues of security threat, bedeviling or confronting Nigeria at the moment. If all this can be properly wrapped and then things translating to us not willingly again all over handing over our genuine independence back to Britain, it will be a worthy state visit for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We wish him good luck.
All right, yeah, I'm definitely going to have some questions around that when we get to that segment. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, please do us a favor. Hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Right now, we're just going to go ahead and get into the next topic, which is Trump, about the oil, about the $105 barrel. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So we have this story coming out today. Oil at $105 a barrel and a Navy on standby. Trump is demanding NATO and China send warships to the Middle East or else the Iran war has entered its third week. As you all know, if you're paying attention, and the global economy is feeling the heat as Operation Epic Fury continues to pound Iranian naval assets. The Strait of Hormuz remains a graveyard for global trade. Today, President Trump issued a blunt ultimatum to NATO allies and even China. And I quote, send your warships to escort the tankers or lose your oil. While UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has already rebuffed the demand, saying the UK will not be drawn into a wider war. Oil has surged to $105 per barrel. Back home in Nigeria, rumors of petrol hitting 1,400 are circulating as the global shockwaves hit our shores. So Trump is calling for a global armada, they call it, to solve a problem he started. Is this leadership, or is he dragging the world into a conflict no one else wants to fight? What's your take on this, sir?
How do we begin to talk about the crisis personified individual or presidency known as Mr. Donald J. Trump at this moment? Honestly, there is no way this can qualify as leadership. You want people to join in a war that has been questioned because Donald Trump and his Republican base, in order to work around the framework of is a crisis, because let us respect them too. We know it is a full-blown war, but they are reluctant to embrace that term, that description. So what they do is to look at it as a confrontation or as a conflict, as a because they want to provide some nice things that a facade that would let them avoid that accountability that must come, because the war was not approved by the United States Congress. And that in itself renders the exercise a nullity, an illegitimate foray, and probably as such, an illegal action. So in order to work around that, it is here already, it is here. And at the risk of not throwing the baby away with the water, with the bathwater, like it's often said by way of some African proverbs, in order not to throw the baby away with the bathwater. Now, you may not like Donald Trump, but support must be given to the troops, because these are, in the final analysis, our children as Americans. They go there, they cannot disobey orders given by their commander-in-chief, because he is constitutionally empowered to do just that. But what are we facing here? There must be that element of collective bargaining. You bring people to the, I mean, in the first place, no consensus was reached with our global core political or geopolitical interests in order to attract the necessary cooperation for whatever is going on between the United States, Israel, and Iran. And then Iran trying to also put up some form of resistance, because, I mean, they are no match for the power, the might, and the whole of the military that America has. So they're making all these attempts to just attack in all directions. But for the leverage of overriding wisdom on the part of Iran's Arab neighbors, this would have really become an unmanageable world war situation. But we have to thank Providence for the restraint being demonstrated by countries like Saudi Arabia, like United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Dubai, and so on and so forth. Even in places like Cyprus and Oman and maybe Turkey. I mean, Iran trying to defend its stuff, sending all kinds of missiles in all directions and trying to drag everybody. That strategy in itself appears disturbing, and it tries. I mean, that tends to give credence to some intelligence that impelled somebody like Donald Trump to take a military action against that country, that they appear dangerous. And if people are tagging Iran as a kind of merchant of crisis as a nation, I think they should have been more restrained. But again, that is not the focus of this. What this is about is that Donald Trump should be more humble and less belligerent, or the poise has to be measured. He cannot just be ordering, oh, China, you send your warships to defend the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, that corridor, that sea or ocean corridor represents takes care of close to 20% of a global oil aviation. So it's already disturbing the flow of oil, crude oil, and even finances, as the case may be. There have been times that President Donald Trump encouraged everybody to just, you sail through the strait, nothing will happen to you. But from what people know already, it seems that the action was not well thought out before launching against Iran. That the seashore there ought to have been secured by the U.S. Marines before deployments were made, before the first fire. What was it called? The first gunshots were released by the United States forces, by the United States troops. So it looks like Iranian forces are really there. They have dug themselves in, and it's almost like a quagmire, or let's say a suicide mission for whoever is going to go there. Say true. I have listened to an interview by the Foreign Affairs Minister of Iran, where he was saying that anybody can sail through the place. There is no danger. Just that what's it called? Vessels belonging to America and America's allies. I mean, maybe the legitimate targets that may not be safe, but that in itself cannot be taken to the bank. So, where is that braggadocio that was initially demonstrated by President Donald Trump, saying, relying on the power and the might of the United States, counting it as the strongest military force on the face of the earth? So, what this is showing us is that might that is displayed without a subtle diplomacy that is touted may even fail the giant, which is why sometimes the elephant in the forest has to tread with caution and trepidation, because the insignificant ant may crawl through the nose and fire through some venomous what's it called, sting that could humble a giant. So this is what we've seen here. Nobody ever thought that 3 weeks going, Iran would not be waving the flag of surrender. Nobody thought 3 weeks going, oil will be, the price of barrels of oil will be climbing as high as $105. And that is almost translating to $4 per gallon for American consumers. In Nigeria, you know the implication of that. Even when it does not, it hasn't started raining in Nigeria, you will know that it would always pour. The predatory instinct on the part of Nigerian oil marketers, petroleum dealers, is always an abiding worrying situation. Now, yes, things are really spiked across the globe in terms of financial discombobulation and economic inflation. All that considered, you would understand that the Nigerian government is not even developing an appropriate response to whatever the global dynamics are. What one expects here is that, like it's been done, considered all over the world, that, this is what will be done to cushion the effect, release strategic oil reserve in the United States that runs into several millions of liters. We haven't seen any such framework in Nigeria. On the contrary, in Nigeria, what you find is the NLC threatening to go on industrial action, demanding for pay hike. I do not think that pay rise is always is always the first thing to consider in this kind of situation. That is elementary for economics. When people try to ask for pay raise, instead of addressing the underpinnings, the fundamentals of that economy first. So Nigeria, by way of comparison, comparative analysis, this is what we look at concerning the Nigerian situation. Everything that the Nigerian government promised when they were removing subsidy, compressed gas days, electric cars coming in, all this now proves to be some some empty promises. So while Bola Tinubu is airborne, going to the United Kingdom, he will be thinking of the global crisis as it is affecting Nigerian folks back home. Now we put all this together, begging China, begging Russia to bring their warships. These are seen as critical allies. And the Iranians themselves, the foreign minister of Iran, has acknowledged the fact that there are some form of cooperation between Iran, Russia, and China. So why is President Donald Trump looking in the ironic place? It's very paradoxical that is where he's looking at to see that help comes the way of United States of America to make sure that this crisis is resolved. At the end of the day, we do not see kinetic whatever winning things for President Donald Trump and Israel. What we see here is diplomatic engagement, far-reaching one. However, those people that ought to have come readily, long-term alliances that the United States had, all those have fizzled out now. The United States is also having issues with Canada, with Mexico, and they have dragged themselves before the World Trade Organization. And Canada is almost saying there will be retaliatory tariff action against the United States to the tune of $20 billion. So who is going to help Donald Trump now when he has decided to attack all the things that used to work for the United States of America? The bottom line, diversion. And the domestic issues dogging him, which he longs to avoid, will not go away. They will still come back. Whether it is the file of his old late ally, or the the pump of gas at the pump price of gas in the United States, inflation, as it affects your pocket and mine, all these things would have to be there. And then the almighty midterm elections that would soon kick in. I think Donald Trump will need all the prayers to continue to be relevant. Some of his MAGA followers are still unyielding. They believe in him, but extremely the resistance is on. And people think there must be accountability, there must be punishment by way of elections against Donald Trump. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right. They're saying, I'm looking at a quick report here. We're going to talk about that again, but let me just round up this session. They're saying President Donald Trump, this is according to Politico. It says President Donald Trump is increasingly at mercy of forces he unleashed but can't control. So he's taking aim at the umpires. Gas prices surging, unemployment climbing, war with Iran threatening to engulf his presidency, the fracturing of his political coalition, the collapse of his signature negotiations by tariff strategy, relentless scrutiny of the Epstein files, a public backlash to his agenda that could swamp
See,
Republicans in the midterms.
it's almost a wrap on everything that we have said before.
Yeah,
So
it's a summary.
it is engulfed.
Last but not, according to this right here, last but failure after failure to criminalize the conduct of his political adversaries. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes here, but do me a favor.
Yes,
we'll get to it. No.
All right. Thank you very much.
We want them to
do, including his signature policy on the Doge. Today,
we'll bring that into last segment.
Yeah, almost all of them are being asked, and they are lifting it up, and it's being defeated roundly in the law courts. I mean, what a great time to live, to understand that authoritarianism, dictatorship, one-man rule does not work where there are legitimate and deep-rooted democratic norms and strong institutions. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation in the chat. Join the conversation. Hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. All right, let's see. Welcome back. Let's move on. We're going to talk about, hold on one second. We're going to talk about the impeachment is on pause. We'll talk about Rivers State, Fubara's administration, and the shenanigans. It says impeachment is on pause in Rivers, and the NBS says inflation has finally blinked. Is the storm finally passing? What are they talking about? Well, it says we conclude tonight with a rare bit of calm in the chaos. In Rivers State, the Wike-triggered impeachment proceedings against Governors Fubara have suddenly paused as the House of Assembly swears in 5 new commissioners. Insiders say a rainbow coalition is forming to reduce political rancor ahead of 2027. Meanwhile, the National Bureau of Statistics has just announced that headline inflation dropped marginally to 15.06%. It's a tiny victory, but in the economy, well, I guess Nigerians will take it, So I have a question for you, sir. Is the Rivers crisis truly cooling down? They seems to have been seems like they're the only, I'm sure there are other news but they are trending over and over again. So now, this 15% inflation, they're calling it, I guess, a little bit of success for an average man in the street, I guess. I mean, what's your take on this, sir?
Thank you very much, Ola. Let's take the issue of headline inflation dropping, maybe to anybody would have wished that it would drop to single digit in Nigeria, but they said, didn't they say maybe
15.06%?
Okay. Well, people who scrutinize them, the model often used to measure this, by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. I can confirm to you firsthand that Nigerian Bureau of Statistics works. They have employees, core members. I know somebody who works there and very, really painstaking about the quality of what they do. Particularly, I saw this respected woman at work at the at the Akure zonal office of that bureau. So I can confirm firsthand that they work. However, the reliability of their claims is vis-a-vis what Nigerians go through every day may be the subject of concern here. The way Naira bonds, how hard it is to even earn it, and all that would raise certain concern. We are journalists here. We will not do the job of pundits and what do you call it, opposition figures in Nigeria for them. If what they are claiming is adding up, they should put their hands to the till and let us know what the truth is about that. But people are saying these things are just stage managed, that they may not be really reliable, and that the government shuns out figures in order to look good. But that the feeling in the bones of the average Nigerian may not really be at par with what government is trying to project. We do not know for sure, but you look at the cost of what's it called, modules of rice today or beans. It looks like it's gone down considerably compared with where the country was a few months back. And then you look at assessing and the pricing farm products, say like tomatoes, like all brands of cooking oil and what have you. It would look like there is some measure of credibility to whatever they are saying. However, the vast majority of Nigerians are still dealing with multidimensional poverty situation, as the case may be. Now, another issue of concern concerning Nigeria's inflation, people are talking of oil windfall and how the gains of the global oil crisis arising from the United States, Israel, and Iran conflict, how all that is translating to some disposable income in the pockets of Nigerians. People have to deal with that. And you talk to some of our compatriots who live overseas, who are in the diaspora, the kind of demands that come from people who look up to them for one form of support or the other. It looks like the diasporal engagement in that aspect, transfer of money and what have you, is on the rise. So it therefore means that something has to be done to fine-tune the economy back home to make sure that things are okay. Now, are people linking all this directly with the situation in Port Harcourt just because, in Rivers State, just because that is a major oil-producing hub in Nigeria? Certainly not. The political dynamics of Rivers State vis-a-vis the instinct of the man who have been given the de facto leadership of being crowned the kingmaker instead of crowning the king there, the governor of the state. So, Nyesom Wike, the incumbent incumbent Federal Capital Territory Minister, FCT Minister, is given all the laurels, all the victory palm to reign over plenipotentiary around that state, and that his words or his wish will become the reality for whoever is the governor. Yes. As against that report that says 5 commissioners were sworn in by the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly cannot swear them in. It's not their constitutional role to swear in commissioners that have been able to pass the litmus test concerning claims and whatever they brought before the House of Assembly in order to be found worthy of occupying the various offices to which they were nominated. When the House of Assembly must have done the screening, the swearing in becomes the sole responsibility of the governor. However, thinking that this is just trying to push aside or buy time for the expected disgraceful removal by way of impeachment of the governor of the state, that probably this has enabled them to buy some time. We really can't say for sure what the terms of agreement of settlement between Governor Simlaye Fubra and the FCT minister, Yeson Wike, could be. However, I don't want to see Yeson Wike's end. I do not like to feel like, oh, he's the alpha and omega of everything in that state, that, oh, it's because of him 4 of the 9 commissioner nominees did not make it through the screening of the House of Assembly. The issues are so plain there. One woman came and made a wrong or false tax filing. She claimed under oath that, she had not made some money since maybe 2018 and thereabout. And then it was found out that she had actually served as an appointee in some respect over in the last few years, and was claiming unemployed. So if you were a government appointee and you had been, you had functioned in office, is it that you were not paid your emoluments or your salaries? What happened to the taxes? So just get in the papers. So all these contradictory issues were there. And so that serves as a standard of the thorough and real hard work done by the members of the House of Assembly. Most times we feel like they don't do anything, they just exist to do, to act at the beck and call of Yeson Wike. This is a major proof that they actually did some thorough screening. In fact, they are even better. They are, they were more thorough than the National Assembly folks. At times, we just call people to take a bow, and then they are given whatever appointment they ask for. So, things are unfolding in Nigeria. I've always said it. Yeson Wike operates now as a useful instrument in the hand of the ruling party, in the hands of the sitting president. It's been used to destroy, the strongest political party in Africa at the time, that is People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, PDP. That is one thing that would follow him to his grave, that he allowed himself, and really worked because of personal anger and deep-seated animosity, to turn himself to the undertaker that saw to the ultimate interment of a PDP. Would I love to wear such a toga? Certainly not. It is not a dignifying thing. For the moment, they're clapping for him. It's just like a brave hunter in Africa that removes the hat from the head, and then with a mere wave of that kills an elephant. It will be celebrated for that moment, but subsequently people will avoid him as a dangerous witchcraft or sorcery practitioner. That is the so that is the situation that Wike finds himself in. To think that all things considered in the frame of things for politics in Nigeria, I would not think that the days of Simlaye Fubara may not get a second term. We do not know. We do not know the terms of agreement of reconciliation between him and Yeson Wike is not advertised. It's not transparent. So with that kind of, with the situation in which we know more of things that are not said, are not disclosed to us, than the things that are said. They have been economical with the truth, the circumstance of the negotiations. Only it is between them, President Bola Tinubu and the people of Rivers State, and they will continue to watch as concerned, although we may not be competent, but as concerned observers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Sharp Edge News TV. Do us a favor, hit like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Well, I don't think we can escape today's show without talking about the village boys versus the city boys. So,
Hmm.
so ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Just help me turn up on the like button real quick. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. All right, welcome back, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, okay, first of all, by the way, you're watching Sharp Edge News TV. Right now, we're diving into our weekly SharpEdgeNews.com special report, and we're going to move forward. Let's get maybe more of a sharper hedge. Should we call it that? With the H, sharper hedge. On the conversation, but maybe you can educate us on this. I've been hearing the last few days or so about this village boys, city boys, and all this kind of. Ladies and gentlemen, publisher, editor in chief, and I chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Ola. Always my pleasure. Now, you see the optics about city boys and village boys having a suspected confrontation during the sharing of largesse and empowerment. Yes, at a forum designed specifically by certain Eastern minders of the initiated by the first son of Nigeria. Can we say he's the first son? Well, by the son of the president of Nigeria,
Mr. Sheyi Tinubu.
Mr. Tinubu, and his wife. Very unfortunate development, as it suggests something that the country is wedged in a kind of division of opposing opposing classes of citizens. Yeah, we talk of village boys, we talk of city boys. The city boys started their initiative in order to join in an effort to create awareness, especially to make sure that the existing reluctance of people in the eastern part of Nigeria, the 5 eastern states of Nigeria, that their reluctance to embrace the candidates of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a little bit relaxed. So I think that is that must be the immediate consideration for starting the City Boys movement. People earlier thought it was something that was being put in place to support the speculated, it's just in the realms of speculation, the speculated interest of Mr. Tinubu to later become the governor of Lagos State. But more and more, it's been known that this movement revolves around the
re-election.
Yes, to make sure that people in the southeast are galvanized to embrace. Remember the hurricane situation, the tsunami political wave created by Mr. Peter Obi,
Right.
who just started. Joined Labour Party with his what's it called now? Obedient, obedient.
Obedience.
The obedient thing, and then handing up almost, if I caused a political star, it was a huge shock that it could cross the threshold of 6 million votes plus. So they're thinking that with Obi still in the race or expected to throw his hat in the ring, that they would have to put the City Boys people there. But this in itself like we have said, creates a situation for concern, such that the fact that the ban has not been lifted on campaigns by the Independent National Electoral Commission in Nigeria, INEC, is one issue. Number two is the concern about vote buying, because the process has started, not now at the polling units, but ahead of time. I mean, all kinds of things have been given out. Deep freezer,
I mean, all those gifts, all those valuables that they're giving out
yeah, on
in
whose term?
exchange
Where
for
did the money come from?
in
And
exchange
then
for the viable how should I
mandate,
call it?
mandate of the that should be
Of the
freely
people.
exercised and given by the people. These things really put to question the quality of democracy that is in place in Nigeria. And then the people that have been contracted, that have been solicited to preach the message, forgetting that even Mr. President himself does not have more than one vote. So which power does Obi Kubana or the Kubana chief priest? I mean, what power do they have other than being online or social media influencers? So to think that that would translate and that things will be orderly there. You saw the way people were climbing over each other, struggling, and then making sure that those things that were meant for ordinary folks were hijacked by village boys. It's the optic is not good at all.
Quickly,
why
sir.
even because of city boys?
Quickly,
So
sir.
you come from the city to ride roughshod on village folks, and then that is why you find that chaos unfolding now everywhere. Maybe subsequently it will turn more violent, because these people will want to ensure that they protect their turf. Whatever they want to give out is going to the target audience. Like a woman coming there to say, "Oh, I'm pledging my vote, the vote of my children, and this and that."
So
Stupid political talk.
quickly, sir.
Yes.
The definition that is being cited through, I guess, this day live is village boys, quote unquote, are often characterized as grassroots, volunteer-driven, and emotionally invested, while city boys represent elite, supported, well-funded urban structures. The
Yeah, that is
only
what
way.
that is what I described as the class division there. Class stratification.
You're
So
on
go ahead.
point. You're on
Thank
point,
you.
right? I just wanted to
Yes.
correlate that with what you said, right?
Thank
Now,
you.
the question here is that the numbers are not numbering in my head unless money is involved. Because the majority of the youth are probably going to fall more in the category of the village boys, right? That means
Yeah.
majority of the supposed votes
Yeah,
or the mandate.
that will be organically
Organic,
grown.
yes,
Organically grown. Yes.
right. We have to be village boys. The city boys, we can probably count them on on one hand, or the fingers on one hand, right? So is that what you're speaking to with regards to now we're seeing all these valuable gifts? Do they have the capacity to buy the village boys? Do they have that
Well,
capacity?
they do not have the capacity to do that. But the village boys would always mobilize, pretend to be admirers or supporters of city boys, and then they they will hijack
Okay.
whatever those people have. Ultimately, you will find Nigerian voters, the common folks, by and large, taking possession of what rightfully should have been theirs, because they know the money for all this may probably have been diverted, misappropriated, or actually embezzled from public funds. And it puts to question the quality of democracy
Right, you mentioned
we
that.
practice. Yeah,
Yeah.
we practice in Nigeria today. If you go into the archives or you go into history, what was the intention of the Coca Commission of Inquiry that probed Chief Obafemi Awolowo and the finances of the then Action Group Action Group political party in the Western region? It was to establish the sources of funds and all the things that were done to one of disgraced Obafemi Awolowo, because he was a man that was deliberate and well organized in the way he put all the building blocks in place for the Western region to be financially buoyant. Even then, he was questioned and grilled and taken to the cleaners for everything he did. But today, brazenly, people take money from government coffers. You see sitting ministers. Can it happen in America that a serving secretary to the government, a minister in the government here, will be diverting public funds?
Well, not in such an obvious way.
Yeah, it will be done. It will be done in a subtle way.
Right.
I mean, all those
and that's a big deal. And that's a big deal, sir. That's a big deal. The fact that they could not possibly do it in an obvious, in your face way is a big deal. It's something to aspire to still, nonetheless.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everything that the Doge did the other day, the issues of what do you call it, diversity and what have you, everything is being revisited now. Even Elon Musk was
not sustainable.
Here. Yeah. He was asked there, would you still do that? Would given another opportunity, would you do it? He said probably not.
There's a
girl.
Nigeria,
it is done with impunity.
There's a girl that went viral over the last few days, Easy Ogbede, for trafficking. Her story is she was being trafficked as I think 14-year-old, 17-year-old, I'm not sure. She's now older, she's in her 30s now, but she's telling her story. She's trafficked through Benin, all the way through Italy, and then I guess she's somewhere in Europe now, and she's a big influencer now. She's telling her story. And that conversation riled up a lot of people. So we're getting the fact that a lot of young men, they either aspiring to fraud, and we have parents actually sponsoring them to learn fraud. And they will also have young girls who also, a lot of them, more than needs to be, aspiring to become, this kind of situation where they are being trafficked, becoming a low show en route for sex trafficking all the way through Europe, right? So now I'm processing the mindset of an average youth in Nigeria. Before I was quite delusional. I'm always looking at youth as the average, how I grew up in Okaro. But then when you start to really do the math, 200 million, I don't know, about 60% being youth or so, right? I can see what you're saying, that maybe not directly be able to buy them, but if they can hijack their mind with social media.
Yes, and Mr. Tinubu is getting too much involved in politics that, the politics of his father than he ought to. Yes, he's a grown-up man. He's an adult. But the truth of the matter is that he should allow his father to pursue his mandate, execute whatever mandate he has. But for him to brazenly get involved in a nepotic way like this, speaks to a form of, a degree of corruption and fraud that ought not to be tolerated, that ought not to be encouraged in politics. If Abacha's son had done what Tinubu is doing today, Tinubu is doing today, when Ibrahim Abacha died alongside some of his friends in a presidential jet, it was a big scandal for the government of that time, in spite of the fact that these were despots. These were despots and tyrants. It became a big issue. Now, may God forbid a situation in which this guy would do anything that would be so harmful to himself or to the nation. What are we going to say about all there have been all kinds of people in government. This census shows that if Donald Trump's children are co-running the government of America with their father, that cannot be a good example to be copied by Nigeria. So, that must be said. This is just disturbing and it's mind-boggling. And from there, let us also consider everybody that is claiming to be jumping from a sinking boat, which is the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria,
PDP.
Which is unfortunate. It speaks to one thing about us as a people. We do not conserve, no sense of conservation. No. We do not do a good job of keeping our history. All of them are laughing, they are clapping, they are really jumping over the carcass of a PDP. Oh, they were able to wreck it. And Tinubu too must be gloating wherever he is about or windsurfing about this development. But quite unfortunate, you ask, where is the Action Group, AG, First Republic, gone? Northern People's Congress, gone. Middle Belt, Progressive, whatever,
Never
gone.
to come back again.
Yes, NC, the party that was so big about galvanizing the movement for nationalism and independence for Nigeria. NNDP, all of them gone. Unity Party of Nigeria no more. NPN no more. UNPP no more. GNPP no more.
SDP almost no more.
SDP no more. SDP no more. They try to all of them.
NRC, SDP almost no more.
Things don't last. No long staying power. Even
but I think it's a Nigerian culture. No, there's no maintenance culture in Nigeria.
It's not shameful. Look at ANC, African National Congress in South Africa. You want to say Nigeria is greater than South Africa? You paid their way through to end apartheid, to have a true independence and all that. But these people have conserved their worthy institutions. And as the PDP is going down, all thanks to Mr. Nyesom Wike, the willing tool, the cannon fodder, the useful idiot that's been used to achieve this
weapon of mass destruction.
In fact, a weapon of self-destruction for himself at some point when that time comes. Now, Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State, is planning to decamp to APC as well. They have made.
Wait, is that the same guy that was on?
The one that is supposed to be the sitting. Some big guy, the governor of Bauchi. He was FCT.
Was he on Al Jazeera last week? Is that the same guy? Or was it a different guy?
No. Okay. That brother direct himself and has been going around getting his usual supportive. What's it called? Domestic crowd of. Media.
Is he doing damage control? Damage control?
Yeah, explaining the circumstance. Like I told you, it's almost like Obesere singing. You know, Obesere, the Nigerian Fuji maestro, singing. Maestro. And it's all up Amu, Tolo Obahoro, Tolo Obakoro.
What is wrong? I forgot to say this last week, sir. What is wrong with saying? Well, our nation is a dynamic nation. I've changed my position.
Because I'm pragmatic.
Yes, what is wrong with just saying that?
He would not say that. He started lying and he was confronted with this lies and he has not even retracted. He got back to Nigeria, doubled down.
Doubled down.
It wasn't on Daddy Freak's show and they were saying that, those things were not said on the show. They had to remix and all that.
Also, like AI. It was AI.
AI. It's seen real wahala in the hands of Nigerians. In the past, they would say I was misquoted. Journalists are.
In the past, it was the snake. It was a snake. Yeah. In the past, it was the snake.
That is it. Now everything has to be blamed on AI. You think it's me? It's AI generated. So Bala Mohammed, the governor of Bauchi State, is on his way to PDP. Remember when these people were having their fracas at Wadata House in Abuja, PDP headquarters building. He was the one that was standing tough. What is the matter? We will resist them. They are intimidating us and all that. He too is kissing up to the ring of the imperial presidency in Nigeria today. So opposition is collapsing. Let us continue to view events in the context of what Shivdele Momodu recently said. At some point, this is going to have a consequence, if not consequences.
No, it's going to be. There's a price to pay for this, of course.
That's right. Another issue I want to bring up as we wrap it up is what has been going on in Ondo State of late. As I'm talking to you, the military may have been drafted to Ayede Ogbese because some wrong-headed youths, they don't get it that even in America here, when the police is enforcing the rule, is out to keep law and order. You cannot just push out your chest for even the wrong reasons. Some people are bringing drug war to Ayede Ogbese. They are bringing bandits and kidnappers. Today, I don't feel safe to go back to my community, even as a member of the Royal Council, as a kingmaker there, as a high chief. I cannot boldly say that I will go there because somebody somewhere will be there to give away information, come and kidnap him, demand ransom, and then you will get some big money from American government. What a shame. For how long are we going to continue to live like this? We trade our people. This is and the West African slave market is bubbling, is thriving almost the way it was 400 years ago. I mean, you see people all over America, black folks in huge numbers. How did they end up here? The same process that brought them then, that brought some of our forebears to the shores of the United States and the far-flung places all over the world. That trade is still on and alive. You kidnap somebody from Ayede Ogbese, you kidnap people from Mushu, Iluabo, everywhere, and then you demand ransom. When it's not paid, you waste people, you target soldiers, you target policemen, and then what is worse, you take money, blood money on all of them. I mean, local radio stations are agog with talks about all these disgraceful trends. Not only in Ondo State, Ibadan, everywhere. Nobody can feel safe anymore. You are calling your folk, maybe they don't answer you in time. You begin to go through panic attack, thinking that, what is wrong? Have they been taken away? And then later you hear them, you calm down. But for how long are we going to continue this way? So much so that some wrong-headed youth fighting over marijuana stuff decided to sack
what do you have to say about that spot as the market?
Yes.
For how long has it been a potential or a market?
So for a long time, all that I witnessed firsthand when I came back, I told you how the headers almost cut off the head of my farm manager. I told you how I even went to, write statements, invited the Amotekun security network in Ondo State to do things. But I see the weaknesses. I cannot discuss those because of my sensitive leadership situation. I can't discuss the sensitive details of the implications and ramifications of things going on in an open forum this way. But if they reach out to me, as far as the interior of the forest reserve there in a place called the Power Line, where these people are always camped on top of some earth crops, some high rocky mountains there. How they can be dislodged? We can discuss all these details. And one more point. Kings and chiefs and leaders, whether political or civil, in Yoruba land or across the entire southern shores of Nigeria are targets illegitimately for these satanic forces. For this,
because they are persons of interest, obviously.
Yeah, they want to go after them, treat them anyhow, humiliate them to show that they have subjugated different nations. Because I don't talk of tribes of ethnic or whatever. These are nations. You can't call a 65 million people strong Yoruba nation a tribe or whatever. When it is in Europe, even a country of 5 million
that's
people,
a country.
you give them their flags, you call them. Yoruba as a nation is up to like 50 tiny countries put together.
Well, I can tell you like this, sir.
Yeah.
I can tell you like this. Growing up, I've always heard of that particular community being a sweet spot to use teenagers. Teenagers that want to make money to carry Igbo up and off those lorries. But I'm sure it's not the only community in Nigeria. It's just the Nigerian problem is deeply.
Allah is pervasive. It's everywhere. In Osun State, in Ogun State, everywhere. You even see them going into some protected forest in Ogun State, where you have this elephant sanctuary, and they are distorting the what's it called? The biodiversity, the ecosystem there. And that is what happens in a place like Ayedeogbese, where you have buffaloes, you have elephants, whatever in the interior. All these animals are disturbed. And then at the end of the day, we say Nigeria is settled. So all the indices, instead of people facing all these security challenges, they are playing politics. The governor of Ondo State, I'm sorry, because they will say, oh, I'm on boy. But as a journalist, I do not really care. They don't feed me. Even as a chief, they don't pay. I've never received a dime from the public purse to do anything. As a matter of fact, I laid down my life to organize the finances of my community, and I'm somebody that can stand anywhere, beat my chest, that I've never stolen any dime of any community. Even with my disability, with my challenges, I feed myself. I do things to make sure that I live for another day, hoping in providence and the provisions of God alone and alone. So thank you. Everybody must live at peace. Don't go and confront the police. Don't go and confront soldiers. If you do that, you are just breaking the law. And you cannot even confront them for the wrong reasons. You just hear that people are doing activism. You don't know the basis the basis for that. You don't know the basis of legitimate activism. You are doing marijuana and then you are confronting the police. You think you are an activist. That is just sheer stupidity. And
all right.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have it. Another one in the bag. Hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next one. Take care and God bless.